This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hi, and welcome to Third Eye View. Today I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Sophie, and she lives in Kincardine, and she does reflexology. Now, over the years, I've heard a lot about reflexology and, read about it, know a few people that do it, but I've never actually had it done. And I have to tell you, it is quite the experience. So, Sophie, welcome to Third Eye View.
Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate the honor of being here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, what, if I can ask, before we get into all the ins and outs about what it is, what got you interested?
Wow, how long do we have? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, we have an hour.
Well, it all started probably around 2007, 8. My mom was very ill, and I was going through a separation and a divorce and that sort of thing. And I was looking, I had also just lost my job. It was just like a perfect storm of everything happening at the same time. And I'm sure there's many viewers out there who've been through things like this too, where it all happens at the same time. And was looking for something else. And I was always sick and stressed from work. And I was tired of getting the little white paper from the doctor going, oh, just take this or just take that, or, oh, nothing we can do. I don't know. We don't know what it is. Those sort of things. And in my gut, I was like, there has to be another way to feel better. And that was sort of the beginning of the thought process of how can I make myself feel better when no one else can seem to help me? I have to help myself. So it seemed to be my only choice. So I ended up, after my mom had passed away the year later, I ended up searching for something else to do. And I was looking for, I wanted out of my corporate job. I used to be a marketing manager for many years and so on, but I was looking for a different avenue at the time. And I ended up finding a school called Transformational Arts College in Toronto. And I took the holistic health program there. And my dad was kind enough to help me on my journey a little bit there. And my first class with reflexology, we went into the classroom, we sat down, and she started off with this picture of the spine within the frame of a foot, like within this footprint. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so cool. So I just was kind of hooked really from the first session that we had, because it's very much, everything was corresponding to different parts of the body. And I'm like, how does that work? And then as we got deeper in the classes, I really we had to also do exchanges with each other. And I was also going through so much. And at that point, my mom had already passed and all the rest of it. So I found that the healing of going to school during that time period was so helpful to help me through grieving process of so many things. That's kind of how I got into it, was really to find something else. And then when we were emptying my parents' home, and we found all this stuff that my mom had to do with reflexology, books, tools. I'm like, what? This is a sign. I think this is a sign, because she never talked about it with me. I knew she did a little holistic stuff. She was a traditional medical pediatrician doctor, but she also, being Eastern European, dabbled in some holistic stuff as well. But I had no idea the depth of what I found: energy medicine stuff, reflexology stuff, meditation stuff, yoga. Like who is this person?
What things we expect from our mothers.
Right? Yeah, it was really actually a beautiful moment. It's like, okay, this is the right path. So I pursued that from there.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, one of the reasons that I believe in reflexology, even before I had it done, and I know, right, from my understanding, it's your head, your hands, and your feet. But I think, is it more
and your ears as well?
Oh, okay, and your ears. But years ago, now this had to be about 20, we were living in Port Elgin at the time, so it would have been about 23 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I had my gallbladder removed. I forgot to tell you that the other day. But anyway, before I had it removed, I had a pain in my foot. There was a certain spot in my foot, and it really hurt, and I could hardly stand and didn't know what it was. And I was trying different things. The doctor couldn't figure it out. Well, anyway, I went, had the gallbladder removed. And when I got off, like out of the bed to come home, to stand up, my foot didn't hurt anymore.
Mm.
The pain was gone. And to me, at that point, it was like, wow, this reflexology stuff, there's got to be something there, because where the organs are in the base of the foot, it went from being really, really painful to stand to literally, from the time I went to sleep to the time I woke up, I didn't have my gallbladder and I didn't have the pain.
That's right. And now that you're saying that, that's a great segue, because really with reflexology, there's like 10 zones in the body, 5 on each side. So it's sort of, splits out like this and goes down. And each zone corresponds to one of the systems or organs. So in your case, it would have gone down one of the fourth or third zone down from here, from head to toe, and it would have hit the gallbladder. Now, even when I do reflexology, still on somebody who doesn't have a gallbladder, you still work the spot, or you work corresponding spots, just to keep the energy of it going and moving, because it's something that was still part of you.
Yes. So when I come back for my next appointment, I'll have to remember to tell you, unless you write it down on
I'll write it down. I'll write it down.
It's, like I said, it was quite the experience.
Yeah.
To you. And it is something I would absolutely 100% recommend to anybody. I know I didn't relax as much as I should have, which I will be able to do the next time. But of course, as you're going through it, I'm thinking, okay, with regards to the interview, and and I was kind of focusing. So my mind was in, it was in business mode, and I know it shouldn't have been. But I thought, okay, there's things here I have to remember.
That's right. And I totally respect that, because I had a feeling anyway. But that's also reality, because you wouldn't be alone. There's other people too who are in a corporate job, let's say, or they're really stressed out and they come in and their mind is racing. Yeah. So part of my job is really to do my best to get them to not be thinking, and get them into that parasympathetic state. And the reason for that is, when you are in a parasympathetic state, or for those who don't know what that means, getting into a very relaxed state of mind, or a meditative state where you're just like in a little bliss, that's where repair happens in the body. And this is why they say sleep is so important. Getting that 7-8 hours of sleep, especially for adults, is super important, because as we get older, things start to go wrong and go downhill, and know. And so we have to really, one way to take care of it is through sleep, because it gives you rest. And same with, why intermittent fast is a great way to repair your body, because the biggest part of your body is the gut, and gut repair is imperative for all your well-being, because it can lead to all these autoimmune diseases you don't even realize, and because it's inflammation. And so this is what reflexology also does, is it helps reduce the inflammation, because it goes into repair mode, because you're in a parasympathetic state. So when you allow and give yourself permission to go there and tell yourself that I'm worth the time, I want to give my best of myself to the world. So self-care is about giving your best to the world.
Absolutely. Now, Sophie, I know this is going off a little bit from the reflexology, but you
Sure.
talked about intermittent fasting. And it's funny because this is something that's been coming up on my Facebook constantly, nearly every day, intermittent fasting. And I really don't know a lot about it. Can you explain a little bit about that for us, please?
Well, I know a little bit about it. I'm currently living that lifestyle for the last couple of years. Not always the easiest, depending on your work schedule and so on, but you sort of learn to live around it. The reason I'm on it is I work with a naturopath, and we've been working on, I had experienced adrenal fatigue coming out of corporate. It's taken a long time, and it takes a long time to repair your body. I had adrenal fatigue, so I was really tired all the time and feeling not good. And so I had inflammation in my system, and people have inflammation in their system. They have no idea. You don't know until it's too late, practically.
Okay.
Right? Because you don't, until you start actually feeling the symptoms of tired and not putting it off as, oh, you know what, I just had a long day, or, that sort of thing, until you recognize that there's something more to this and this is not normal.
So it's not just due to getting older.
No, it could be anybody. But with intermittent fast, depending on body type, I don't know a whole lot about which is what, but I know, like, for example, you fast for 16 hours and then you eat within an 8-hour period. In my particular case, I can eat between 11 and 1 or 2. I push it some days, and then in between 5 and 7. And then from 7 till like noon or 1, when I eat, is my fasting time. And during that time, I can have water and herbal tea, and that sort of thing is fine. But when you start eating, the digestive system starts to start up again. So if you don't eat, it gives the body time to go into, okay, I've got time now to go into repair mode. So the little cells come out with their hammer and nails and start doing their thing, right? But then if all of a sudden I go, oh, I'm going to have a chocolate bar, which I'm not supposed to have either, but or whatever, something to eat, and then it's not during fasting time, then it disrupts the fast, right? So it's like fast.
Yes.
Right? So you're breaking for fast to have that meal. Right?
So if you have, for example, let's say you have your dinner at 6:00 at night. So then you should wait roughly until what, 6, 7, 8, 9, till about 10 or 11?
Yeah, 11 or 12 easily, yeah.
Okay. And then you eat again around 6.
Yeah. And then what you eat is also super important. So
I can't sit and eat a chocolate bar at 11,
well, you can.
12 and that's my
but you
life.
will feel the difference. So I mean, it's a bit of a process, and it is take some getting used to. So it doesn't. Listen, I'm not 100% compliant. I'm going to be very honest, and I think most people are not.
Yeah.
If we're being honest. So I'm going to put myself in a 75 to 80% category of doing it. And other days I fall off the wagon and I have a bag of chips. So, you know what I mean? Or I have that cupcake or whatever it is. Because the biggest thing here is that it also helps promote weight loss if you're eating the right foods at the right times and that kind of thing. But it's sort of more long term, and it helps. Eating the right foods will help with the repair process. But if I keep interrupting it with sugar and chocolate and coffee and certain other things, gluten is a huge problem.
Yeah. And sugar promotes inflammation.
Yes. Gluten and sugar are top 2, I'm going to say. And then you can throw dairy in there if you, although it's really difficult to give up my cheese. So you know what? I don't necessarily fully restrict myself. I just kind of really minimize, limit the amount of those things that I have.
Yeah. Oh no, I love my cheese. Every so often I'll take a trip. I'll go down to Stratford, and then from there I'll go to New Hamburg. and there's a couple of different cheese factories down there
Oh, nice.
that I go to. And then I have a certain restaurant I go to for lunch. And it's just making, you should come with me one day.
Sure.
Make a road trip together.
Yeah, that's it. It'd be fun.
Yeah, it is. The cheese I get down there, it's this Mountain Oak, and it actually has won awards for the world's best cheese.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. But anyway, I digress. Which I often do, as everybody knows. I say I go where spirit takes me. But back to
Reflex.
reflexology. I've got all of these things going on in my head. Now, are you okay if I give you a message that I'm on air that I was given? Okay. Because this morning I was told to tell you that there is something else. There's another course that you're going to be taking, another modality that you're going to do, and it's going to work hand in hand with the reflexology. Okay. I have no idea what it is.
I wish I do, because I'd be totally in.
Yeah. But you will, it will come to you. Okay. And it will come, it should come to you in the next couple of months anyway, possibly shorter than that. But it's something that somebody may talk about it, may mention it, and it's like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting. And it's like the more you look into it, the more, hey, you know what? I can do this, and this is how I can work it with this.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see things like that. You've got that kind of I'm going to use the word insight, but excuse me, that's the way you think. And it's really going to work well. Anyway, back to the reflexology. Now, one of the things that I didn't expect when I came for the treatment was with my head and sort of pulling on my hair.
Mm-hmm.
That fascinated me. That intrigued me. So can you explain a little bit about that? And anyone that goes, she doesn't pull hard enough to pull your hair out.
No. The reason for think about when you're a kid.
Yep.
And how, your mother used to just always kind of brush your hair and how much you loved it.
Mm-hmm.
How kids play with their hair all the time. And they're always pulling their hair. They're always doing things like this because it feels good. And we forget as adults because we're so worried about how beautiful our hair is we're going to mess up our hair. But you forget when even viewers who can try it with me, try pulling up a little bit of your hair up, just a little pieces. What you're doing is you're waking up the reflexes. Each hair follicle is a reflex. So what you're doing is by pulling it up, you'll even feel a little bit of an energy lift in your body.
Yeah.
Right? And it just feels good. Or when you have a headache, sometimes I sit there and I scrunch it really hard because it's just like, it helps pull and just kind of wake things up and move things around. Our head is full of tiny muscles everywhere and tension. So the whole point with reflexology is also to help relieve tension. Mm-hmm. So in my practice, I'm a little bit different from most reflexology practitioners because most people just stick to the feet or the calves and feet.
Yeah, no,
I do it differently because I start on the head and I start with the reflexes and the meridian points on the different zones. Mm-hmm. To help wake up the reflexes so that they are a little bit more prepared when I get to the feet. So they'll kind of come forward a little bit more. Different types of feet will take different amount of time to get to it. Because if you have a harder sole, sometimes you can't access it. It takes several sessions for it to work. Reflexology isn't really one of those a modality where it's one and done. Neither is massage therapy. Mm-hmm. Even though it's a short-term gain for the people who just want to go one, and it's still beneficial. But with the hair and the head and the hands, these are ways of just getting the body recognizing. It also helps calm the body down. Right? And if I could get you to calm down by the time I get to my feet, especially if you're ticklish like Lynn,
I know.
And you're more inclined to just be able to relax into it and meld yourself into the table and just allow it to happen. Does that make sense?
Years ago, one of my cousins started tickling my feet and I bit him. That's when I was a kid. And he didn't tickle my feet after that.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, and it is something that you definitely, one visit really is not enough, because when you were working on my feet, they were very, very tender.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's a lot of stress. The stress is built up over years and years and years.
Correct.
Yes. It's not anything to so much to do with what's going on now, because
Correct.
my life now is not near as stressful as it has been in the past.
Yes.
But that stress builds. Is that correct?
Yes,
And
of
it
course.
stayed.
Yeah, because our cells hold trauma.
Okay.
Trauma doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a car accident or something like that. Trauma can be very small,
Mm-hmm.
but as a perception, especially as a child perception of something that a parent said or did can shape the way you think the rest of your life.
You bet.
This is why therapy is so fantastic. You gotta reverse all this stuff, you know. And I really encourage people to really look within, and as much as it's scary, you're better for it on the other side.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and the more aware you are, the more aware you are.
Yeah. And, where I was saying about having to come more than once, because it is a buildup of years, like taking stress, for example, and even any inflammation and things like that in the body. It's taken years to get it to that point.
That's
so
right.
Once it's not going to disappear in an hour.
Yeah, there's no quick fix or band-aid. It's and it also has to correspond with other things that you do in your life to support it, right? So, I mean, you can have an appointment and you can run and go do life, but if there's nothing else in your life that's going to help support that relaxation, for example, like I always tell people, it's really important to drink a lot of water after a session, because it helps flush out the toxins, and Epsom salt bath, for example, puts minerals back into the system and draws the toxins out and relaxes the body further, so that when you go to bed, then you can have a better night's sleep and more repair will happen.
Yeah.
So, it's an ongoing journey, really.
It really is.
And life is an ongoing journey. There are no quick fixes. Some days I'm very sad about that. Because even me as a practitioner, sometimes I just want a quick fix, period.
Yeah.
I'm just tired.
But I think we all do. I know there's times it's like, oh God, why can't I just, do some work on myself and just make it all go away? And
yes,
just like that. And it can be a temporary fix, but if the source is not fixed, the pain will keep coming back, because it's like, hey, there's something wrong here. Come on, need your attention. Listen to your body.
Yeah. So when you were talking about the pain of the gallbladder in your foot, for example, and for a long time it was like that before you had the gallbladder removed, right? So this is your body telling you there is something going on. So sometimes when I'm working on a foot and there's pains and so on for somebody, I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I can't really diagnose, obviously, but I know enough about the body when I can sort of say, you may want to look into, something, or is there something going on with your cold, your lungs? Like, have you had a cold? Like, I think I've asked you that. Sometimes people are congested.
Yeah.
And I can feel a little knobby in there, or a crystallization, or shoulder tension, or spinal pain, just by feeling, because it's a thumb action that I'm using. This is my main tool. Right here. So when I'm working that, and sort of these two fingers, sometimes depending on the motion that or reflex that I'm working on. So it's a lot of work in here. So I even have to do my own exercises to relieve that afterwards, and relieve energy. Very important to protect myself as well. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just a 60-minute thing. And it's the greatest thing about it is, like, I love massage too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a different modality, and it's good. You know, everybody has different things. You try on different modalities, just like you try different underwear, fits differently, and you know, whatever. Pick the one that works the best. Same with a therapist. Same with anything.
Yeah.
So I always encourage people, like, go try it on somebody else. Or try a different modality. See how that works for you, because not everything, like you know, according to the government, you know, they only accept massage therapy, chiropractor, acupuncture, and like physiotherapy.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of modalities out there that have been around for thousands of years, like reflexology,
Oh,
that
absolutely.
have been healing. And, you know, when you believe that you can be better, you will be.
Yes.
Right. And with massage, it's all about the muscles. Like mostly it's about the muscles and the fascia. And with reflexology, you're working in a different way. There is some muscle involved, but you're working on the reflexes for all your organs and systems: thyroid, lymphatic, gallbladder, spleen, you know, liver, intestines. Like oftentimes when I'm working on somebody, I'm like, you know, do you have any digestive issues? Because sometimes I can feel like either they just ate, or there's something else going on. Right, in the body. And when I'm working, I don't just stay on one location. I work on the whole body, because what we're doing is we're unblocking blocked energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So imagine, I mean, I know you and I talked about this in my day and age. I don't know about the kids now, but we used to have things called pea shooters. So we used to have like a little Bic pen or whatever, and we'd hollow it out, and you'd, you know, spit out the paper on the other side. So that blocked energy could be the paper stuck in the middle of that pen. So when you go to blow it out, is what I'm working on, getting the energy to flow more in your whole body to get all that out. So sometimes when you have a little jerk reaction or a tingle or whatever, that's the energy starting to move.
Yeah. And if we hit the teacher by mistake with that little wad of paper, we got a detention.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
After school, writing out lines.
Yep. Because we forget that the organs and systems also need attention, not just the muscles.
Yeah, and it is something that you really don't think about.
Yeah. And you build up tension in those organs over the years, and you don't realize. So it's all like this, and then it starts to move, and then your muscles start to move and start pulling, and then you all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't know why I have such a back pain, or I have pain in my knees. You know, those muscles and ligaments are pulling as a result of other things being tense and pulled. So getting the body moving in motion is really important.
Yeah. Now we're going to take a short break. And then when we come back, I want to talk a little, well, obviously more about it, but I also want to talk about the hands, because there's the head, there's the feet, but also you worked with the hands, the fingers, and with the feet in between the toes. And like I say, it was an experience. It really was an experience, you know.
No, that's great. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, I did. I mean, there's obviously a lot of things going on with me with like stress and that, but in the body. So yes, some of it was painful, but you've got to work through that. But then I believe that every time I come, it'll get less painful.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Anyway, we are going to take a short break. And so don't go away, because we will be right back, and we're going to find out about our hands.
I don't care what the law is. I will never be a slave. That word, I hate it. It rests on my tongue like rot.
Peter, how does it feel to get paid for your work?
There are rumors freedom's coming for us all.
Freedom, you know that's all I want.
Chloe, careful. Real men would rather sell you across the river to America than let you go free.
Then I'll run.
I've run before. Maybe this time for good.
No! No! Just get her into a boat. No!
Chloe! Chloe, no!
of Chloe Cooley's resistance led to Canada's first legislation limiting slavery. After 200 years, slavery was abolished in Canada in 1834.
Our family used to be so fun. Now my brother takes care of me. I miss Mom and Dad being around more. Mom says things are going to get better.
And we're back. All right. So, Sophie, now, before we get into anything else, and then it gets to the end, we don't have time. If somebody would like to book an appointment with you, how do they get hold of you?
Oh, that's awesome. I have a card here somewhere, but they can get in touch with me by email, info.healingbetter@gmail.com. So healing, HEALING, better, BETTER, @gmail.com. They can send me an email about it, and any of the viewers that see this and they want to come and see me, I'll give them a special promo code. What was I? Healing Better 10. So if they want to put that in the subject of the email, then on their first session, I'll give them 10% off.
Oh, well, isn't that good to know?
Yeah.
Now, do you have a Facebook page as well? Is that correct, or is that more of a?
I do. Yeah, I do have a Facebook page. I never know what that is. Hang on one second. It's actually, you know why? Because on Facebook, it's not an actual, I don't have a login number, but it's under Healing Better.
Okay.
Like Hope with Sophie Powell. So, but that sort of gives you, it doesn't, it's not an exact, I don't know what the URL is for it, but it's under Sophie Powell, SOPHIEPAL, and Healing Better.
All right.
On Facebook, yeah. And same with Instagram. Yeah. And the logo looks like that.
All right. I like that logo. It's very zen, very relaxing, and
yes. Well, there's a story with that too.
Oh, let's hear it.
It's interesting that you brought up Stratford, because this is this little lily pad is a photograph that I took. You can probably see it over here, maybe. Oops.
Ooh.
It's part of a photo that I had taken in Stratford. When I was going through a really difficult period of time, when I was going through my divorce and so on. And I love the lily pad look of it. And it was just so beautiful. And then I started looking up about the lily pad, and you know how it has long roots, right? And they're deep in the water.
Yeah.
And apparently the lily pad has a lot to do with strength and rooting yourself and grounding and that sort of thing. So I just loved it so much. And so when I started this business after I finished school in 2010, I used that and I cut out the image, and I wanted to use it as my logo.
Yeah.
As a source of strength and, that sort of thing. So that's sort of my story behind it. And it's my own photograph. So I feel pretty proud of it.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I think it's great when you can use your own artwork. And photography, it's an art.
Yep.
It is. It's an art form. And
it is.
When you can use your own, because it puts your energy into it more than if you take something that's someone else's. Yeah.
And that was part of it too, is it is my energy, and it's part of my creative outlet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an amateur photographer, but I love a landscape. I love flowers. I love, that sort of thing. I'm not a good people photographer.
Yeah,
like taking pictures, it's a different art.
Well, it is. And it's, with art, it's one of those funny things, because people think, oh, I can't do it because I can't draw. I can't draw either. Okay. But I'm an artist. I mean, apparently I'm a colorist. but I do. I work a lot with color. And I'm actually taking an art course right now in neurographic art.
Oh, I read about that recently.
Yeah.
That was fascinating, about changing your neurotransmitters with drawing and coloring in with those neuron lines. I was fascinated about that, actually. You have to tell me more about that.
I will. Well, I started, I don't think you can see it very well.
Yeah, I can.
But yeah.
It looks exactly like the examples.
Yeah. And that's a start. Now, next I have to learn about the coloring, but apparently there's symbols that mean things, and it just fits with all of this stuff.
Yes.
It really does. And, I keep, when I'm doing my runes, it keeps coming up about finding my passion. And I'm like, but I have my passion. I found my passion. I think I found another one. And the one.
I was just thinking when you said that about the passion, I was just having this conversation last week with my coach, and we sort of, there's a lot of pressure on people. And I want to say this to people because people get a lot of pressure on even me, and still sometimes do, around what is my purpose? And I realized that really your purpose is, for example, in my case, communication, sharing knowledge, being connected with people.
Yeah.
That really is my purpose. How I do it is the vehicle, right?
Exactly.
So whether I do it through reflexology, or I do it when I work at West Coast at the front cash, or whether I'm doing it through my marketing manager old job, you're communicating and connecting in various ways, right?
Yeah.
So the purpose is less about what you do as opposed to how you do it.
And how you feel about it.
How you feel about it.
And, one of the things that I tell a lot of my clients is, you find your passion, you'll find your life purpose, because your life purpose is built around your passion. Because you have to have a love for what you do.
Yeah.
In some capacity, in like, you're good with people, and with doing the reflexology, and it's still there. Again, you're still working with communication, right? So it's the passion is there.
Yeah, and I'm right down to, in my case anyway, and this is just how I've always been since I started this, is I'm so particular about the type of music I play, the ambiance I create, all that kind of thing, and how quietly I move or open the door instead of slamming the door, because it's really important when you get somebody into a parasympathetic state and they're so deep into it.
Yeah.
The smallest sound like that can be jarring.
Oh,
right? So you have to be gentle and bring them out of it gently.
Yeah.
Versus just going, okay, you're done. See you later. Like I've been to a lot of different. I have.
Yeah.
Where, they'll leave to go wash their hands and then slam the door shut.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
now,
I'm just passionate about it.
Speaking of sound, one of the things that you did, you had those, like, the little bell things.
The ting shaw.
Yes. Now, what is the purpose of those?
Outside of the fact that they make a beautiful sound.
Yes.
There's something about the tuning of a ting shaw, like the hertz, whatever the hertz is. I'm not even sure how to explain it myself. I just know that I love them. But it helps radiate and remove any energy that doesn't belong.
Okay.
For one. And so it's also a really nice way to bring back the client at the end out of their parasympathetic state. It's kind of like an indicator, like a bell that helps sort of bring them out. And it's it can be, as long as you're gentle with it. I mean, if you really clang them, it can be not nice. But when you do it gently, it's actually a beautiful way of bringing someone out of their parasympathetic state. And it's just a certain hertz that works with the brain waves you know.
Okay, and does this have to do with the theta? The theta? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know what you're talking, like a binaural, oh my God, I just totally lost the name.
Yeah.
Binaural beat.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And you can use like even chimes, like like tuning forks, those sort of things that they're at different
yeah. I don't know where I have it
frequencies and stuff.
Huh. Yeah, I have a singing bowl.
Yes, I have that too. I use that actually when you were here as well.
Yeah.
So, then you just sort of and then again that helps move the energy, and it's like part of sound therapy. So it just brings things forward. In some cases, it can evoke emotion in people, which is also still a good thing. Yeah. Because anything that comes out like that, sweating, crying, laughing, all those things are all good. That comes out, elimination, all that stuff is good.
Well, that's good. All right, now I would like to take a bit of time to talk about the hands.
Okay.
Because you do work on the hands. Now, when you're working on the hands, what parts of the body? Because I know with the feet, you're sort of the internal, the organs, the spine.
The hand is exactly the same way. So remember I was talking to you about the zones?
Yeah.
So I've got a book here just to kind of give you an idea. I don't know if they'll be able to see it properly.
Okay.
See how there's lines there?
Yes.
And then if you go to this photo, it sort of separates them.
Ah.
Right?
Yeah.
So those lines go down. So, and it's based on your digits. So you'll have a zone here, a zone here, a zone here. So remember when I was working on you, I was working down the hands. I was working down the zones. So again, I'm working. So this is a great way to explain with reflexology. So when we're working on it, we're working head to toe, basically, right? So we're working from the top. This part of your fingers or your toes is your head, this part here, right? So you're working on head, sinuses, eyes, ears, neck, right?
Yeah.
This section. When we get to this section, like this pad part, same as your foot pad, right? Right? It's a correlation. It's exactly the same. Then you're working on heart, lungs, right?
Yeah.
You can see, well, we can't see it on here, it's too far, but heart and lungs and the, solar plexus down here in the diaphragm area. So there's different reflex. So that's what would be your gallbladder on your right side. So I would be underneath here. Then when we're working on this middle section, that's this section of our bodies, right? Like where all our organs are.
Yeah.
Right? And then when we get to, when I was working on your thumb, this part here is your spine, which on your feet is, well, I hate to do this on TV, but the inner part of this part. So a lot of times people have pain in their feet along this side, and that is usually to do with back pain. And so the bottom, like your heel part is your coccyx, and up here is your neck. Right? And then you have sciatica on the bottom, your pancreas, all that stuff is all in here.
All in there.
Yeah. So you're working the zones again. It's all the 5 zones, and you always work right side, left side. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, this is a really odd question. Of course, trust me to think of it.
I love it.
It's a little gruesome. Supposing somebody lost a hand. Okay. Something happened. There was an accident and they had to have, say, their arm removed.
Yep.
So obviously you don't have that hand to work on with reflexology.
No.
So does that, I'm not really sure how to word this.
Affect.
Yeah. Does that affect, how would that affect things?
I probably just wouldn't work on the hands there. because in that case, because then I still have the foot or the head or whatever to work on.
Yeah.
Right? I've not experienced that myself personally, so
Okay.
I'm not sure how I would address that. I guess I would have to figure it out. But there's different zones that you can, like helper zones and stuff like that for, areas that are, missing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, you don't have to do the head, hands, and feet. You can do just the feet, and it's still going to be a good experience. It's
Yeah.
just that I feel like for me, it's an extra thing that I can give my clients to help them deepen their situation.
Now, let's say, if anyone's going to ask you something odd, it's going to be me, right? So and I'm asking, what's pulling me into this direction is because when I had that pain in my foot and then I had the gallbladder removed and the pain went away. So supposing, I mean, you see this with people, amputees, they're, maybe been in a car accident, they were a soldier, they were over in the war, they lose a leg. Because of all the stuff that you've got in the foot that relates to the organs, losing that appendage, does that affect the organs in any way?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure I know the answer to that, but I'm going to say not necessarily.
Okay.
Because I think, from what I understand, even with amputees, sometimes they get like phantom pain.
That's right.
Because the memory, most of your memories are in between your brain and your gut. Brain, gut, and heart. Brain, heart, gut.
Yeah.
And your main brain of your body is your gut, in reality.
That.
But nobody knows. Nobody understands that because it's more new, I would say. That's why the gut health is so important and why you have gut instinct.
Exactly.
Follow your gut, right?
Yeah, trust your gut.
These words that we sort of take for granted, or we don't really understand where they come from, because it's a brain it's the guts that's communicating to the brain for the function, and then the brain coming back down. This is where the ego is.
Yeah.
Right? That takes you off the beaten path. But the real connection is between the gut and the brain, and the heart is the one in between. And then we have our throat chakra, which is in our right here, which is the blue color that you would provide it with this for communication. It's the communication tool. So it's the communication tool between the brain and the heart and the gut, right? And it's very strategically placed. The body is fascinating and so intelligent beyond measure, like beyond anything we even know still.
Absolutely. There is, it amazes me times when I sit down and I think what we are capable of, what the body is capable of, what the mind is capable of. Yeah. And I think that people have forgotten a lot. And I'm not just talking about this generation. I'm talking about, generations over generations. And before we had modern medicine, and I know a lot of people are still alive because of modern medicine. I get all of that. But there's a lot of things that nature has provided for us, and the things that our body's capable of. Now, I know I've talked about this on air before, and I was telling you that a few years back I was diagnosed, I had a tumor. And I go for bioenergetic sessions every so often. So I phoned Glenn up and I said, look, this is what's going on. I need to come and see you because I want to find out if it's cancer. Because I thought, well, if it is, I don't want to wait a month to find out. I want to know now. So anyway, I went to see Glenn and he did all this stuff. And he's, yeah, it is malignant. It is cancerous. So we started working on it right away. And I worked with the surgeon on it. I told him exactly what we were doing. And he was good with it. And I did a lot of healing. And, Louise Hay, right? That disease, dis-ease. What emotions, what is it? Old angers, old hurts that you're hanging on to. Now, the liver, I think it's Chinese astrology or Chinese medicine, the liver is the seat of anger.
Correct.
So when you hold in anger, that's where it's going. And this is one of the reasons it's so important to release, to get rid of old emotions. Okay. And one of the ways, and if I'm wrong here, please tell me, but one of the ways of getting rid of old emotions too is learning to relax so you can release. And this is one of the areas where reflexology can help.
100%. That's exactly it. And it's just so important. And when we were talking about the liver and the anger, imagine when you're angry, you get all tensed up like this, right?
Exactly.
Right? Well, that tension holds. So then when your tension holds, let's say in the liver, and the fascia around it gets even tighter, then it starts pulling on something else, another organ, and then that organ is pulling on a muscle. So this is then all of a sudden you're in this contortion in your body, right? And you don't, then all of a sudden you're like, I don't understand what's going on. And it comes out in various ways. Louise Hay, I really love also, but I also have, this is my little Bible book. Am I allowed to show it?
Absolutely.
So I have this, you can tell by my tabs. I have this book called Your Body Speaks Your Mind.
Deb Shapiro.
By Deb Shapiro. And this is my little Bible book that I absolutely love because, like when I have stress or when I have a headache or whatever, I'll look into this as a reminder because I can't remember everything.
Oh, I know.
About what's going on in the system. Like, why are my hips sore? Is it about moving forward? What am I not wanting to do? Low back is often finances, things you don't want to deal with.
That's right.
Things you want to put behind you.
I keep this by my desk.
I have that one too. Yeah, that's another one of my favorites in the other room. That's the color version, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. That's a fantastic book too. And it's fun and whimsical and easy to read. That's why Louise Hay was so successful with that book.
Yes. And of course, and of course with me, anything to do with color.
Yes.
Right. With being an artist, everything is about color in it.
Yeah.
But anyway, because I did all this self-work, and I'm a big believer in visualization. And so I would visualize a string wrapped around the tumor, and I would strangle it every day. I would pull it. And when I went for the biopsy, the tumor was gone.
Yeah.
All that was there was dead blood cells. So then Glenn said, okay, now I want you to visualize little Pac-Man going around inside and eating all of these blood cells. So I did that. And so when I went for the next appointment to get everything looked at, not a sign, And I mean, for anybody who is dealing with cancer, it's not where you just go rogue and do it on your own. But I do believe that working both traditional and non-traditional can help. And
100%.
Yes,
I believe that they need to work together. This is my personal philosophy. Everybody's entitled to their own.
Yeah.
My thing is, I'm not just holistic. I also still have a regular doctor. There is a function for Western medicine, 100%. There is absolute value in that, but there's also absolute value in working either with a naturopath or other alternative things that whatever it is that might work for you in conjunction with staying out of the doctor's office.
Yeah.
And staying off, pills or medication. There are things we can do. Oftentimes we don't want to because we want the quick fix. Yeah. That's the flip side of it. And it's interesting. I was telling my naturopath yesterday, I was down there yesterday and we were doing the biometrics on me for the inflammation that I had with my knee. And I was telling him about you and the story about the tumor. And he goes, oh my God, I love that story. Yeah. He loves to hear when things like this are working because, it also helps bring some validity to these alternative things that a lot of people have a lot of skepticism, and I get it.
Yeah.
Right? But there are nothing is 100% or for sure.
Oh, it is.
But all you can do is you try and work through it. And if you have the good intention of, I want to feel better, and I reject the idea that I have this, it doesn't mean it's actually going to go away, because sometimes cancer can be just cancer and then it's going to do what it's going to do.
That's right. And sometimes it's there for a reason.
And it's there for a reason.
You know,
and oftentimes that reason is really to highlight, because you talk to so many cancer patients and how they look at their life differently afterwards.
Yeah.
And maybe that was the purpose,
yeah.
was to spin them around, right? And go, okay, I really woke up. It took cancer to wake me up enough to change my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and with reflexology, we use that as a preventative as well, right? So that you don't get into that, stress state that you could create disease.
That's right. And of course, with all things, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for someone else.
No, you and I can have the exact same kind of cancer, but our environment can make a difference. Our body makeup can make a difference. Our genetics can make a difference. So yeah, it's not a blanket.
No.
Every single human body cell, everything is different, even in twins.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, the way we think, our belief system. You hear too about the placebo effect on things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you believe a good part of it, I mean, yes, something really can work. But if you believe that something can work, it will. If you believe it won't, it's not going to.
Yeah.
Well,
and I also think that there's an education around alternative stuff, and people have this idea that it's woo-woo, or I'm not sure where these ideas come from. But the other thing is that we have been conditioned to believe that, you can't afford it because it's not covered under insurance.
Yes, and that's something that we have to get by. What is your body worth?
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, we are just about at an end here.
Oh, wow. That was fast.
I know it does. It goes so fast. And Sophie, it's been absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Getting hold of you. And I'll just get you to go over one more time.
Okay.
Your contact information.
Sure. So I'll just put my card up here anyway, just so that people can see the name of the company. It's Healing Better. Mm-hmm. And the email address is info@healingbetter@gmail.com. And if they put the promo code of Healing Better 10, they can get 10% off on their first treatment with me. So they can send me an email, and then I'll respond back, and we can figure out information exchange.
Yes, that's wonderful. Very
healingbetter.ca is the website. So
yeah, very generous of you to offer that. Anyway, I know I'll be coming back to see you, and I just got to sit with my day timer.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
I am lucky to meet so many amazing women, and I hope they feel lucky to meet me.
I'm ready.
He's a hunk, sweetie. Chef's kiss. He's insane. I was mesmerized.
I'm still just Joey.
He is so handsome.
The Bachelor, all